Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Breakfast Club with Got That Funk. Thank you for joining me. I really want to thank Agent of Doubt for taking over for Nathan. Nathan's going to be gone until probably about November because he's busy doing his Inktober thing. You know, Nathan is an artist and does comic books and other projects as well, of course, films and such. So he's pretty busy right now, and I'm very glad to have AOD on board as a pretty frequent guest host. So when I watched his video, I wanted to do a response to it and intended to, but then of course yesterday was the day of the hearings in the Senate, and the reason my video isn't yesterday instead of today is because I got consumed watching all that stuff after I came home from work, and I still am way behind on the stuff I want to watch about it. So as much as I might have liked to do a video response to Michael, I might do another video on this channel tomorrow and do that just because I really want to chip in on that subject. But for now, I'm going to talk about one aspect of what's been going on with the Brett Kavanaugh confirmation and the accusations by Dr. Blasey-Ford and others against Kavanaugh. It's a lot of has been happening, and it's been happening pretty fast, and by the time you watch this video, for all I know, things will have changed dramatically. But the state of play as I sit down to make this video is that the Senate has agreed to ask the White House, and I think Donald Trump just like minutes ago agreed to authorize an FBI investigation into the sexual misconduct charges against Brett Kavanaugh by the three main people who have come forward. Not just Dr. Blasey-Ford, who testified yesterday in Congress. And I found her testimony to be pretty convincing, not only in quality, but in content. You know, she really had, she pretty much put you in the room. You could really get a feel for the vibe of what was going on. And she just seemed incredibly sincere and, you know, visibly shaken and obviously nervous to testify in front of the Senate and so on as well. And there's a few reasons why I believe what Dr. Ford was saying. First of all, if you were going to put another witness in the room besides the person who's assaulting you, that's a pretty bold thing to do if your memory is mistaken or if you're making it up. So putting a witness in the room is a big deal to me. The other thing is, of course, that she wants an FBI investigation into it, and she has said so from the beginning. I take it now that that's about to happen, which is for the best. However, again, if you're making it up or if you think your memory is faulty, you're not going to really be quite so keen for that. The main reason that I think she's telling the truth is because she first tried to contact her representative, in this case Dianne Feinstein, when she found out Kavanaugh was on the president's short list. So this is before the president actually picked him, and she was trying to warn Donald Trump or find a way to warn Donald Trump by contacting her senator first. And obviously Kavanaugh got nominated anyway. Whether Trump ever found out about the letter from Feinstein, I don't think is the case. I think Dianne Feinstein has some questions to answer about the way she handled her situation. It may have been for the best. She may have had good reasons for what she's doing. I don't have enough facts to really have much of an opinion. All I know is it doesn't look great to me. You know, she seemed quite sure that her office didn't leak the original letter from Dr. Blasey-Ford telling her about it. But the Republicans got their hands on it. I'm not sure, it looks like before the press did, so there might have been a security breach, but I don't think anybody wants to say that out loud without evidence. But it is suspicious to me how they had that letter of 65 women who used to know Kavanaugh literally within 24 hours of this allegation becoming public. That's pretty suspicious. Anyway, the fact is she tried to notify the government a long time before Kavanaugh was even nominated, when he was just under consideration for nomination. And so that torpedoes, I mean, Brett Kavanaugh, when he was giving his opening statement in front of the Senate yesterday, he repeatedly said that this has just come up and it's a political hit job and blah, blah, blah. And let's not pretend that it's not, there's not a political dimension to the way the Senate is responding to this in terms of the senators on the committee as well. However, that doesn't mitigate against the fact that these are serious charges and they seem pretty credible, and it needs to be taken seriously. It's not just political theater. You know, this is history in the making, and they have to proceed with caution as far as I'm concerned, and they don't seem inclined to. You know, the GOP is obviously in a hurry to get this nomination through because they know if Brett Kavanaugh withdraws or is disqualified, that there won't be enough time to get someone else nominated and vetted through the process before the midterms come up in November. So, you know, the political stakes couldn't be any higher. I mean, the Republicans in the Senate are behaving in such a way which is frankly reprehensible. And to me, it seems like they're calculating that the Supreme Court seat, to have a 5-4, you know, just like likely majority for virtually everything for a long period of time, is worth it, is worth risking losing both the House and the Senate. That's how important the Supreme Court is to these people. And like, when it comes to, once they're into the Supreme Court, I'm not sure, I haven't actually looked it up, but I'm not sure if a Supreme Court justice has ever actually been impeached. I'm thinking it might have happened once a long time ago, but I can't really corroborate that. I should have researched that before I came on. Anyway, so yeah, those are the main reasons why I believe Dr. Blasey-Ford is telling the truth. You know, she wants an investigation. She put a witness in the room who, although provided a statement through his lawyer to the Senate, wasn't willing to testify under oath. And it's not just the under oath part, it's the whole thing about testifying, because when you're testifying, you're also being asked questions. Now, I can understand not wanting to put yourself through what is, in a lot of people's eyes, a political circus. But as I said a moment ago, you know, this is serious stuff going on here. We're setting precedents right, left, and center. And the only thing else I want to say, which is not directly related to why I believe Dr. Ford, but also, or Blasey-Ford, but why I don't believe Brett Kavanaugh. I watched his opening statement earlier today, and I was appalled by his, I don't know, his sense of entitlement was really sickening to me. And more than that, his open partisanship. I mean, I always thought it was a prerequisite that when you got nominated to the Supreme Court, you had to make a pretense at least of some kind of judicial nonpartisanship, you know. But you know, it's all out in the open. It's all out in the open. He's intentionally right wing, and that to me tips the balance of the scales of justice. I mean, can you really be sure that he's going to look at things in a non-political way from the bench if he's that sort of partisan? I mean, the way he attacked Senator Feinstein, for example, I thought was beneath the dignity of anyone who's a judge, much less a Supreme Court justice. So, yeah, I think there's lots of reasons. You don't even have to consider whether or not Kavanaugh attempted to rape Dr. Blasey-Ford when they were young to know that Kavanaugh shouldn't be on the bench. Kavanaugh has been shown to have lied to Congress in his testimony on multiple occasions, not just in this confirmation hearing, but in previous appearances before the Senate in years gone by. That information is in the public domain. That's known, right? And frankly, I think that should be disqualifying in itself. You know, if you're going to be a Supreme Court justice, you shouldn't be lying under oath. End of, right? I mean, it's as simple as that. What right have you got to judge other people if you're prepared to lie under oath? Give me a break. So there's that. And my other thing about Brett Kavanaugh, you know, he had all those debts which magically disappeared, and that still hasn't been adequately sort of addressed and explained. And it should be, really. I mean, if you're like in debt, you know, a couple of $100,000, whatever, and all of a sudden it gets paid off, and then a couple of months later you get nominated to the Supreme Court, you know, I think that merits some investigation and some explanation. Maybe it has been investigated, but I've certainly not heard it explained. I've barely even heard it addressed. So there's that. And just as a side note, you know, his display in his questioning and also his opening statement, but mostly his questioning, his temperament was just, I was literally appalled. Like I said a moment ago, the fact that someone with that sort of temperament is a judge at all is really worrying. And to have someone like that on the Supreme Court would change the character, the integrity, and you know, the direction of the Supreme Court for at least 20 to 30 years, maybe forever. And sometimes you don't know what you've got until it's gone, and we've got to be really, really careful that you know, we don't put people on the court that are not just unqualified and unfit, but unworthy. And that's my final thought on this one. I want you guys to let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. And I'll probably be back on this channel again tomorrow with a video response to Agent of Doubt and his video about housing, because I've actually had some experience, and I've certainly observed an awful lot what goes on in this country about housing, which may or may not be similar to how things are in America. I'm not sure. But anyway, I want to talk about that tomorrow. So until then, peace.